So we're looking at Go Math lesson 4.3 right now, and we've taken a look at ratios, we've taken a look at rates, and then we've looked at equivalent ratios. So we're just taking one more step every day. So now we're going to use a rate table to compare equivalent ratios. So what that might look like. Let's go back to our old standby of the shirts, right? So let's say I can buy 3 shirts for $15. Well, we know if we're buying 3 shirts for $15, my unit rate, 1 shirt would cost me $5. So I get a unit rate. Well, I'm buying 3 shirts for $15, and I take them up to a clerk. And I bought, well, let's say, 3 shirts for $15, so let's buy 9 shirts. Well, and I know that it's 3 for 15, so my unit rate is 1 for 5, so 9 shirts should be $45, right? Well, when I take it up to the clerk says, that's $47. How do I know if he's right or he's wrong? Well, I can do the math. I can take it down to 1 unit rate and then multiply it like we just did. But I can prove it using a rate table. Shirts for money. What's my unit rate here? Well, 3 shirts for $15. 3 shirts for $15. Let's simplify that to get my unit rate. 1 shirt, I would divide by 3. And if I divide the top by 3, I need to divide the bottom by 3, so 1 shirt gives me 5. There's my unit rate, right there, right? We already solved that. How much does 1 shirt cost? So then I keep moving on, and I might say, okay, so 9 shirts, 1 times 9, 5 times 9 should be 45. So if I'm looking at my unit rate, 1 to 5, 9 to 45 doesn't work. He's wrong, and I can prove it using my rate table. And you might say, well, Mr. W, I don't know where this keeps playing out. Essentially, we're using this to explain away word problems as to whether or not they're correct. And you're going to see that on your tests and different assessments. They're going to say, take a look at these 2 things and let's compare them. Are they correct or are they incorrect? Well, you could write it out as equivalent fractions and prove that they're right or wrong, but they may give you a bit more of a complicated answer. Boop. All right, so a paint store makes rose paint by mixing 3 parts red paint to 8 parts white paint. A clerk mixes 4 parts red paint to 7 parts white paint. Did the clerk mix the paint correctly to make the rose pink paint? Well, that's a little bit more difficult because I have 3 parts red paint to 8 parts white paint, and then I'm comparing 4 parts red paint to 7 parts white paint. They're just not easy to manipulate. So the best thing for me to do would be to make a rate table right here. And I would say rose pink paint, we have red paint, and we have white. Now, 3 parts red paint to 8 parts white paint. That's a 3/8 equivalent. Can I simplify that to find a unit rate? I can, if I divide it by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. So 1 part red paint, 8 divided by 3. Well, you might say 8 divided by 3. 3 goes into 8 2 times. 3 and a half, 2 and 2/3 parts. So if I had 1 cup of red paint, I would have 2 2/3 cups of white paint. So what about 4 parts red paint? Is it 7? Well, already I can show that it shouldn't be 7, but we'll do the math just to check. 1 times 4, and I have 2 2/3, which C method. 3 times 2 plus 2, that gives me by 8/3. And I'm going to multiply that by 4 over 1. And I get 3 times 1, which is 3, 8 times 4, which is 32. 32 into 3, that's going to go 10 2/3 times. 10 2/3. No, he is not correct. So using tables of equivalent fractions, I was able to find a unit rate and then prove that he was incorrect. Again, I took what I was given which is a 3:8 ratio. I simplified it to a unit rate. It's not a nice one, it's not a clean one, 2 2/3, but I can work with that. Now we're going back and we're going, oh, I remember when we were multiplying with mixed numbers. That makes sense. Again, I multiply with mixed numbers by turning them back into an improper fraction and checking my work, and I know that that is incorrect. So I can call out that paint store clerk respectfully, of course, and show him the correct amount.